Hello, the doc is in, and welcome back to another chapter of One Piece, chapter 1061, Egghead, the Island of the Future. In the last chapter, we had some heat, alright, we got back with the crew, we had the crew hanging out together, everybody gets revealed what Luffy's dream is, except for us. You hate to see it. We get an update on Sabo and the Revolutionaries. Sabo, might be dead. I believe it was the Gold Kingdom, never existed. And by the end of the chapter, we have Luffy and the gang linking up with Bonnie, one of the worst generation. And yeah, let's just hop into this chapter. And before we get into this chapter, just real quick, in Goto, we fucking trust. Anyway, let's begin. So the chapter starts off right where we left off. We have Luffy, Chopper, Bonnie in the air. Luffy grabs Bonnie. They're all flying away, it seems. There's a lot of wind. It's wintry out, as they say. So they're flying away, and Bonnie's like, oh, thanks for saving me. But what happened to that thing that like blew me up here or whatever? And it's like, oh, it's still below. And I'm like, below? Turn my head. It's a fucking gigantic ass shark coming from below, about to eat the not Going Merry. Thousand Sunny, there we go. Had a moment. But basically, it just barely misses, and it's fucking giant. Also, as Zoro points out, it's actually not a regular shark. It's made of metal, which kind of suggests it's mechanical. Given this is the island of the future, not surprised. So, Jinbei hops off the ship, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna go save the Delphi users, because obviously they're just gonna drown. Frankie, drive the ship. And so he's like, cool. He activates this special mode on the ship, rabbit screw propellers, and starts booking it, right? The shark opens its mouth, activates targeting, and fires a missile. It shoots the ship. It shoots the ship. And the ship tips over. Everybody falls in the water and everything. So Jinbei over here, he just got Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie. And Frankie and them, they're still in danger. So, right, Jinbei's trying to, like, figure out what's going on or whatever. And by the time he turns around, the shark's now looking at him. And it's about to shoot another shot at him. At them now. It was shot at the ship. Now it's shooting at Jinbei directly. So, right, Jinbei's like, all right, I'm about to get shot at by a cannon. We're going to go back underwater. And so he tells everybody, hold their breath, goes under. And then I guess in the explosion, the shark then turns its direction back to the ship. And everybody's just underwater. They're kind of like, they're struggling to turn the boat back over because it like turned over, right? And then a gigantic robot shows up. All right. It sounds really like messy right now, but trust me, this is exactly how it happens. The shark looks at the ship, then a gigantic robot shows up and literally one-shots the shark. It one-shots it. And that's the end of that sequence. We just leave that. That's how it goes. So we get onto the island that they're on, or maybe an island next to it, as G14 Naval Base, right? So we have Tashigi. She's with the giant kids back from Puck Hazard, giving them medicine. It seems like they've been getting smaller since the last time we saw them and everything with the medicine. Cool. First person of the chapter. Right? This chapter has a lot of quality character designs going on. All right, let's just say that much for free. So Vice Admiral, Doll. And anyway, so she's basically talking about Helmeppo. So apparently Helmeppo's been showing up to G14 a number of times, basically asking for help because, as we know in not the last chapter, but chapter before that, Kobe was captured, and obviously that was in the past, kind of. So timing wise, Helmeppo apparently has been coming here a lot, and he's been looking to get some assistance in saving Kobe. And he's like, hey, I need to ask the Egghead to give me a Seraphim. You guys gonna come with me? We gotta save Captain Kobe. And he's not by himself. Apparently, some girl who's a part of Sword, mind you. Let me just put that out. We had a bunch of Sword members for like absolutely no goddamn reason, but I love it. I love all of it. So you have Helmeppo, member of Sword, makes sense. Then we have Hibari, also a member of Sword, another female. Anyway, so she's also asking to save Captain Kobe. I don't remember if we've seen her before. I assume we haven't, because as far as we knew, there was like, it was Kobe, Drake. We assumed Helmeppo. I think we kind of had like someone had confirmed that Kainu's a member of Sword, and that was kind of it. So with that being considered, I am assuming she's new. But she's not the only one that we find out is new, right? We find out this other guy, Prince Gruz. Interesting design, a lot of hair in his face. It looks cool enough. And so basically Helmeppo and the girl are talking to Prince Gruz, and they're saying, you should come with us and help us save Kobe. And he's like, you want me to go to the pirate island? We will get fucked. There's no way we can go over there. And Prince Gruz points out, he's like, hey, we don't have access to Drake right now either. Like, this ain't really the best time. Like, I get it. You want to save your boy. You want to take a Seraphim. Cool. But it's not going to work out that way. We're just not in the position for that right now. And we cut away from that. So we catch up with Luffy's group. It seems like the crew's been separated, and Luffy's group's going to be Luffy, Chopper, Jinbei, Bonnie. And let me just point out, I got a page, Bonnie, turning back, shirt off, wet. Pause. Got! And basically they're drying off. We got Bonnie kind of being like, hey, how do you guys not know who I am? I'm one of the worst generation, just like you. And then she also points out, like, hey, you're Wonder poster, you have white hair and look all weird and stuff. Like, what's that about? How do you have black hair now? And he's like, and Luffy's explanation for that is basically, my white hair only comes out when I'm the most free. First off, let me just point out, you're white when you're free. I'm not playing the race card. I'm just saying that's what it says. But in all seriousness, right? They're talking, and basically they're kind of chopping it up because they don't know each other. So as they're going along, Bonnie's kind of like getting mad at Luffy as a captain. He's like, you're not only an emperor now, but you seem pretty goofy as it is. Like, aren't you worried about your crew and stuff? And Jinbei points out, he's like, I'm your crew and your ship and stuff. It's like, well, my crew and ship were eaten by said shark. So there we go. But then she's like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. I really could go for a snack. And of course, Luffy's like, a snack? Do it. But alas, she points out to him like, hey, we're on Egghead, which is the name of the island. Interesting island name. But she's like, this is a government island. This is where Vegapunk lives, and this is where he does all this stuff. It's the island that's known to be 500 years in the future in terms of technology, all that stuff. A lot of hype. And we cut away from them, right? We leave that group, and we join back up with a giant robot and everybody who's on the ship, right? And let me just say, it didn't occur to me how big the robot was and how big the shark was until this panel, where I'm like, damn. Like, this robot's so big, in its hand is carrying the ship. The whole ship. But anyway, right, so we have Frankie and Usopp being like, oh my god, it's a giant robot. This is beautiful, right? And so obviously everybody else is kind of like, okay, we were saved, thanks, but like, who helped us? And so then we have this girl coming out, right? And basically it's basically talking about the schematics of the robot shark, and it's kind of being like, oh, analyzing the situation. It's like, oh, this seems like kind of a failure of a shark. I was hoping to make a animal that's robotic but isn't like beholden to its animal instincts, but what can I do? And then of course Frankie's like, well, who are you? And basically this, I wouldn't say they're a LOLI, but this Kawaii Desu girl is just casually like, you could call me Vegapunk. Well, Dr. Vegapunk for that matter. Excuse me? Excuse me? What do you mean, Dr. Vegapunk? You can't do that. That's illegal. This is my One Piece. This is why he's Goda. He came out of Wano going fucking crazy, and I love it. Also, chapter's over. I'm probably not gonna cut here, but yeah. Anyway, also break next week. You make me cry, Goda. You make me cry. But keep writing up this peak, and we'll be just fine. Wow, so much happens in this chapter. I kind of discussed it a little bit, but okay. So Shark, pretty cool. Avengers level threat, gets bodied by Vegapunk's quote unquote robot, and shit's giant. Like this is pretty dangerous. I mean, they probably could have defeated the robot and everything if they really like went out of their way to try to do it. But yeah, that's crazy to just have like as a casual experiment, just lying around, dicking around, doing whatever, right? But we'll get back into the Vegapunk part in the later half. So it seems like, by my guess, G14 is the sword base. I also want to point out Tashigi and Doll, despite being on G14, the sword base as I'm calling it, only Helmeppo, the girl, the guys with Prince Gruz and Prince Gruz himself are sword members. Tashigi and Doll don't have the little thing on their introduction cards as being a part of sword. I mean, maybe later on it might be confirmed, but considering that in this instance they're not pointing it out, especially in this instance where they're pointing it out for other characters, you know, it's kind of setting up this idea. But it's interesting that they're kind of trying to, that Helmeppo's trying to get people to get together to go attack Blackbeard to get back Kobe. I don't know if anything's going to come of this, because, I mean, the manga can really go in a couple directions, where either Helmeppo steals something, Helmeppo gets actual help, and they could do a raid. Maybe he doesn't get anything, but Kobe shows back up on his own. Maybe Blackbeard specifically gives back Kobe. I mean, it can kind of go in a number of directions, but it's interesting to point out that it's not just kind of being like left as it is that Kobe got captured. It's being pointed out that, like, hey, people are looking to get Kobe back. So Kobe returning is going to be an important plot point. It makes sense that's supposed to be an important plot point. I mean, the fact that he's even getting captured in the first place is important, but it's being highlighted, so I assume it's going to be an important moment when he shows back up in whatever capacity. Then we have the stuff with Bonnie and Luffy and everything. That's, for the most part, it's not important. It's more so just set up for, one, the fact that they're going to be working together for a little while, and two, it's also setting up that, you know, this is Egghead Island, this is where Vegapunk lives and everything, etc., etc. And then we got the big reveal at the very end. Vegapunk being a kawaii-esque girl, and I'm here for it, honestly. You know, I'm sure someone's gonna complain, but to me, peak. Peak indeed. But nonetheless, it is something I do need to point out, which is that it is mentioned very specifically that Vegapunk is an old guy. So I mean, there's a number of ways this could go. Maybe this is like an AI downloaded brain of Vegapunk that is basically him, but like a robot and younger. Possible. Or maybe this isn't exactly Vegapunk. Maybe it's a Vegapunk's assistant. They just say they're Vegapunk sometimes. Or maybe this really is just Vegapunk, and Vegapunk was always a girl, and we're just retconning the fact that he was ever said to be a guy. Also an idea. I mean, there's a lot of ways this could go. But for the most part, that's kind of it for the chapter. Leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you dislike. Comment. What do you think of the chapter? What do you think is going to be a plot point with Bonnie? Obviously, he's being included because something's going to come up important with her. I mean, she did go to Marie-Joie, so, I mean, she probably could have information coming from there, but, I mean, who knows? And just in general, what do you think of Vegapunk? What do you think of their design? And do you think that actually is Vegapunk, or are we getting pulled a fast one right now? With that all being said, thank you for watching the video all the way through, or at least this part, because you're a weirdo. Thank you again for watching the video, and the doc is out. Peace.